Boxty black pudding and caramelized apples, a very, very traditional Irish dish. So we'll start off by caramelizing our apples. Get yourself a good non-stick pan, melt a little butter into it. Now to make it a little bit more savory, I'm adding some fresh thyme. And we'll add a little bit of brown sugar, so this is demerara sugar, just to help the caramelization process. So in here I've got a couple of eating apples, and you'll notice they've got red skins, and that's purely for aesthetic reasons, nothing else. That's just the steam from the apples, because they've just been stored in some lemon water, just to make sure they don't discolor. So this will take a few minutes, because what you want is for the apples to turn a golden brown color, but you don't want them to overcook and go very mushy. But the good thing is about eating apples, they do have a much firmer texture than a cooking apple. So you should be absolutely fine with that. Little sprinkling of demerara sugar, not too much, because we want them to still be quite a savory taste to them, not just a sweet taste. So I need to come check on these every now and then, just to see how they're doing. This makes a lovely side dish with almost any pork recipe, actually. There we go. That's under control. So while our apples are caramelizing, we'll make our potato boxty. So in Ireland, there's about 5 to 7 different types of boxty, depending on where you are in the country. So some of them involve grated potato, others involve leftover mashed potato, or a combination of both. Some of them get fried, some of them get baked, and some of them even get boiled. So the version I'm going to make today is probably the one that's easiest for you at home to make, and that is just to take a bit of leftover mashed potato, and it must be cold, it works much better if it's cold. You know the way it goes hard and quite solid? You're just going to shape it into little patties the size. The smaller the size, the more manageable they are, really. I'm going to heat up a bit of olive oil in my pan. This will go really quickly. This is just to fry them off in. But to make my potato boxty go really, really crispy, I'm going to put them in a little bit of egg, so just beat up an egg or two. And this is seasoned flour. So by seasoned flour, I mean just a bit of flour with salt and pepper in it. Dip your little potato cake, nice and messy, into your egg, and then into your flour. And off you go. And there's some people who say you should actually flour it first, then egg it, and then flour it again. So we'll try a couple both ways and see what we think. Only use one hand for this job, as what you'll find is you're building up a nice eggy, floury mixture on your hands too. It's very much like egging and flouring fish if you want to bake it. Also, if you're making little salmon fish cakes or anything like that. Now, if you had a bit of bacon or herbs through your potato cakes, you know, that's another version of it. You can even add a strong cheddar cheese, absolutely anything. So it's just a great use for leftover mashed potatoes. We want to try and get these as crispy as possible, and because the mash is leftover mashed potato, we want to make sure that it's hot all the way through. There we go. So you don't want to overcrowd the pan, because that means the whole pan will go cold, and we don't want that. You want it nice and hot and sizzling. So we'll take a few minutes per side. There we go. So I'm just going to go wash my fingers. Righty, sir, all clean. So let's check on our apples. Oh, that's looking good. They're changing color nicely there. Okay. So my potatoes are under control. I can see them sizzling away. Actually, what I might do is just swap these two around. There we go. And use this pan for my black pudding. So a little bit of olive oil or rapeseed oil into your pan. And I've got some thick slices of Irish black pudding here. So use your favorite brand. Lots of good black pudding available. The spiciness of the black pudding works very well with the sweetness of the apple. So you just want to make sure that your black pudding is crispy on both sides and that it's well browned. I like a nice crispy, well browned, and of course cooked through black pudding. These are going great guns. There we go. You can see how the butter and the sugar have mixed to form a nice sticky sauce. We just want to make absolutely sure that this does stay savoury, so I am going to pop a bit of salt and pepper in. Just turning my potato boxty. You can see they're going beautiful and golden there. Now what can happen is that the bit of extra flour in the pan is burning slightly. So I'll put a little bit more oil in here just to make sure everything crisps up nicely. Don't like using too much oil in cooking. If you can at all avoid it, give it a good shake. So a bit of salt and pepper. So to keep our apples savoury, a bit of salt and black pepper. There we go. So I'm actually going to switch them off and they'll stay warm. Excellent. Black pudding is sizzling away beautifully. Oh, look at that. I love the spice of black pudding. Absolutely delicious. This makes a wonderful starter. And if you make them very small, very delicate, you've got the patience for it, you can make a lovely, very traditional Irish canapé, just for a change. Okay, my boxty are well heated through and nice and crispy. Switch both of those off. You're just waiting on our black pudding. Make absolutely sure that that's cooked through. So move aside my egg and flouring bits and pieces and just get my plate ready to plate up. Turn it one last time. So to plate up, it's entirely up to you which way you want to do this. I think the boxty make a nice base. So we'll pop 3 of these in. It's going to be quite a substantial little starter here, or a light meal. So plate up 3 little boxty, piece of black pudding. Excellent. Move them aside. A few pieces of the caramelized apple. Smell the thyme, absolutely delicious. And then just for something a little extra, entirely optional, I'm going to put a dollop of creme fraiche, which is a cultured cream product on top. There we go. And a little bit of parsley. So freshly chopped flat leaf parsley, just over everything. Give it a bit of a wipe. And you're good to go. So, a nice modern twist to a very traditional Irish dish, potato boxty, black pudding and caramelized apples.